Assalamu alaykum hormatly izleyiciler. Bugün Amerika'daki yaşayan maşgalaların ve orta mektebi gutorjak okuwçylaryň bärde high school ile şolar gutorjak okuwçylaryň bärdäki üniversitetlere nädip girip bilerler, nähil mümkinçilikleri bar. Şo barada ýaňy ýakyny üstünlükli kolleje giren Tavus Atajanova bilen duş geçirmän maslahat bildik. İnşallah hemmämize peýdaly bolar diýip umyd edýän. Tavus hoş geldin. Bu programma ingliz dilinde bolar. Iň bolmanda kaçyny türkmen diline düşünýänsiňiz diýip umyd edýäs. Bärde high school okuyanlara. From now on we'll proceed in English. So Tavus, why don't you just introduce yourself and then continue with your presentation. After the presentation we'll get questions from Zoom and also from YouTube. So if they can provide it or write it onto the Q&A button on Zoom, and on YouTube you can write on the chatting box or on the side of the YouTube. So floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Çağrı'nın için çok sağ olun. Benim adım Tavus Atajanova. Türkmen çeçektim ilk prezentasyonu olan kavratlar tercüme etip bilmenin ilk çeçek. Geleninde de çok sağ olun. Okay, presentation. Screenim görünýär mi?
Görünýär.
So welcome to my presentation. It's titled My Academic Journey, and I'm going to be discussing just a bit about myself and how I grew up in the United States alongside my family, and how I came to be where I'm at right now. Okay, so before I get started with all the information, I just want to introduce you guys to myself, just to give you some context information about the person you're hearing all this information from. So again, my name is Tavus Atajanova. I was born in Turkmenistan and raised there for a couple of years until I moved here to the United States of America with my family at the age of 7. I was raised in Brooklyn, New York, among a Turkmen community who has become a second family to me. I am currently a second-year student at Amherst College, and I am double majoring in biochemistry and sociology while on the pre-med track. So my interests lie in the medical field and working with a variety of people. I can most definitely go into my interests later in the presentation. So before I get started, I want to dive into a little bit of information about how I grew up in the United States, how I was raised, and what helped me throughout my academic journey, starting even before high school. So a couple of levels of support has been provided to me throughout my life. The first one being my parents, of course. I've had one of the most wonderful parents who have been involved in my life in various dimensions. So they've taken me to English language classes, the ESL classes, where I've actually learned the alphabet and how to speak English. Being an immigrant here alongside my family, it's been a pretty interesting journey trying to learn English at a super young age. So they would take me to classes, they would talk to my teachers, ask them how I'm doing in class, asking them of my progress, just getting involved in my academics. I also did a couple of extracurriculars growing up, such as playing tennis and stuff like that. And I had parents who would take me to classes, sit and watch my games, and actually support me and be there for me. And I would say that involved parents played a major role in my life because they were able to show the confidence in me that they had, and supporting me from day one has helped me kind of support myself as a college student right now. Additionally, I've had a couple of many wonderful teachers, wonderful encouraging teachers who have supported me through expectations. So coming to the United States as an immigrant initially, teachers obviously wasn't sure what to expect of me, of a small immigrant girl who barely spoke English. But throughout the years, I was able to demonstrate to them that I can do the work, I can handle the work, and I had curiosity. I asked a bunch of questions. And these teachers eventually throughout time have developed these expectations for me and have expected the best of me. So I think that for young children and even adults, once you set expectations for them, people tend to begin working super hard to kind of find ways to meet those expectations. Alongside that was, of course, the Turkmen community. I think a lot of the Turkmen students and the young people living in America know the importance of balancing the Turkmen and American cultures, especially when each society has such different demands and expectations and traditions. And being exposed to the Turkmen community, I think, through my parents who have asked me to go, who have taken me to little activities and parties such as like big Turkmen weddings, and eating a lot of cultural food at home has exposed me a lot to my own background of my Turkmen community. And there were a lot of people who have supported me along the way, teaching me about the importance of certain Turkmen values and Islamic values and stuff like that. And alongside it, of course, I was exposed to the American education system, how lifestyles in America differ from the Turkmen lifestyles I was exposed to at home. So having like both exposures at home and at school and with my friends have allowed me to embrace both cultures. And right now I identify myself as a Turkmen American who has been exposed to a diverse range of ideas, cultures, traditions, foods, and people. So in terms of high school, I went to Leon M. Goldstein High School for the Sciences. It is a wonderful high school right next to Manhattan Beach for those of you who are from Brooklyn. It's nothing like a specialized high school, as some of you may know it already, but it's a wonderful school located in a beautiful neighborhood right next to the beach. And it is full of resources. It has a lot of AP classes, which I will discuss right now, and the importance of those. And it has wonderful teachers who have supported me along the way, especially on my way to college. So I graduated from high school in 2019, so just a few years ago. And throughout my high school, one of the most helpful things that I've done was actually take AP classes. And AP classes is short for advanced placement classes. And they are College Board based, which means that they are basically standardized, similar to standardized tests like the SATs, which are part of the College Board company. Anyways, so these AP classes have exposed me to like a variety of new ideas that basic high school classes usually don't expose me to. It has a lot of depth and breadth, which I mean to say like a lot of details that you don't usually get from regular high school classes. Yes, it requires a lot of work, but it's also so much fun trying to answer all the questions of how and why and when. And these AP classes really exposed me to the rigor of college classes that I now take. Because AP classes are actually the introductory level college classes. So being exposed to them from an early age, I kind of understood the work ethic required and also just like the types of materials that are covered in college. Getting good grades in these classes are of utmost importance. Yes, it can be hard, and yes, it requires a lot of work and time and dedication to it, but it's worth it at the end, because when you take the AP exam in, I believe it was about the first 2 weeks of May, you are basically testing what you've learned throughout that whole year. And if you score very well, a score of 4 to 5 usually can get you college credit in some of the most select institutions in the country. Unfortunately, at Amherst College, because I'm a STEM student involved in the sciences, I haven't been able to get credit because a lot of schools kind of have different rules and guidelines for how they take credit for AP classes. So I would most definitely check and double check what each school's guidelines and rules are for AP exams and whether or not each school takes credits. Amherst College does not take it, so I had to repeat a couple of classes during my first semester, but it was definitely worth it. What else? In high school. So in high school, I also got involved in a bunch of school clubs and internships throughout the city. So school clubs, I was a part of the Honor Society. A lot of you might know of it. I was the president of the National Honor Society of Goldstein High School. So I represented basically the nationwide organization for my school, and I was in charge of planning events and basically grouping all the people, all the members of this organization, having them meet each other, get recognized and rewarded for their hard work, academic achievement, and scholarship. Other things I did was I got involved in student government. So I was, my position was called club liaison for a few years, and I was in charge of all the clubs in the school. So I made sure that each club had fundings, that they were able to organize their own events, participate in school-wide events, and actually be able to work with other clubs and other schools, create fundraisers and make money for nonprofit organizations and fundraising. I would say that leadership positions in these clubs are pretty important to obtain for college admissions, because you want to show your commitment to it and show that you can lead in certain positions. So once I started out freshman year, kind of exploring my interests here and there, taking like a variety of classes, doing a variety of clubs here and there, I was able to see that I was really interested in science and I really liked medicine. So that's what I stuck to throughout the next couple of years in high school. And eventually by junior year and senior year, I was able to apply to like a variety of leadership positions and get leadership actual positions and work with other members of clubs. And this came in handy when I applied to college. In addition to those school clubs are the beauty of New York. And I think one of the most beautiful parts of New York is the vast variety of internships available to students. I think that the city, in addition to its like diverse range of people, there's also just a myriad amount of opportunities that can help you find your interest, hone your interest, and you can go out in the city, see actual nonprofit organizations you want to work for. You can Google search right now and write STEM internships for high schoolers, and a whole list of opportunities will come up that you can apply to. Some of the stuff that I did involved doing research with my AP biology teacher. She played a very important role throughout my high school career, because not only did she expose me to the field of biology, but she also introduced me to like a bunch of opportunities outside of school that she thought I would find interesting. So making connections in school, I would say, is very important, because they will approach you one day and say, hey, I hear that you're interested in pre-health or public health. There is a wonderful opportunity that I just heard of from this organization that you might be interested in joining. And then I would apply to them, and despite the competitive pool, I would try not to be scared of the competition, still apply for it, see my chances, and eventually get some positions here and there, and go from there. Because my focus was medicine and just STEM in general, I did a lot of things health related. So to explore my interest freshman year, I started out volunteering at a local hospital. And I went up to their volunteering department and I said, hi, I am literally a high school freshman, but I'm very much interested in the health field, but I don't know how much I'm interested in it yet, but I would love to use this opportunity to kind of volunteer at the place, work with the people, including physicians and nurses, physician assistants, and of course, meeting patients and talking to patients, and basically expose myself to the actual field just to see what doctors actually do. And then that summer, I really enjoyed my position there. Yes, I did not get paid, but it was worth it for me because I also found what interested me the most. So I stuck to it and I carried that out throughout the rest of my high school career. And as I mentioned, I did a couple of research positions with my teacher and another organization. I can't remember the name of it on top of my head right now, but if you're interested, I can most definitely send to you later. But yeah, even if you're not interested in STEM related stuff, New York is just full of lots of organizations and companies and volunteering places that you can go to, and they love to have high school students because it's also an opportunity for them to teach the next generation. Okay, so the next part of it I want to cover is college applications process. So I think for a lot of immigrants, especially Turkmen immigrants, it is the idea of education and the importance of education is consistently reinforced in students' minds. It is reinforced as the idea that college education and a diploma will get you a great job, that will get you out of, I don't know, a certain lifestyle that you may be in right now, or a better lifestyle, social mobility, stuff like that. But it's also just college is just a wonderful way to kind of expose yourself to all these new ideas that are actually applied in the real world. And you get to apply everything you learned from elementary, middle, high school to these new applications in college and take classes that are focused on specific details of each subject. So for me, college applications was a very important part of my life. And I think it is for a lot of people. And I spent a good amount of time working on them. I wouldn't say that a college application is something you work on in a week and you toss it to the side and you say, okay, I'm done, I'm going to go submit it. It's more like a whole process. The minute you step into high school, the time is basically ticking. And I think a lot of people have this misunderstanding that high school isn't important because you're still a kid and you can still go do all those different things, and colleges will just look at your junior year grades or senior year grades, and freshman and sophomore year grades won't be as important. But I've learned that yes, it is important because overall, once you submit your application, it's a holistic review of everything that you've done throughout the 4 years. Okay, so I want to briefly talk about the different types of college application processes, different types as in the early decision versus early action versus regular decision. In parentheses are just the abbreviated forms of each application cycle. So early decision is when you apply to a college early. The deadline is actually like early November, and you get your decision from the college by like the first week of December most of the time. An early decision, an important part of it is the fact that you're supposed to sign a contract saying that you will attend that college if you do get accepted, despite everything, basically. Except, of course, if you have financial constraints, then the colleges usually take time to consider and reconsider your decision of not being able to attend. And top institutions usually try to meet your needs with financial aid. Those are called like need-based and stuff like that. I don't go into much detail here, but I can most definitely answer any questions about that if we have. And then early action is similar to early decision, in which you apply early and you get a decision early from the college, except it's not a binding decision, which means that you're not 100% committed to going there. You're not binded by a contract to go to that school. Instead, you apply early, you get your decision early, but you can still apply to other schools in the regular decision round and make your choice of whether or not you want to go to that school you apply to through early action. Regular decision is just regular. So it's the regular process, the regular college application process. That one, I believe those applications are due around March, and you usually get a decision from the college around April, May, June, around, not June, April, May, around that area. And of course, you're not binded by any contract to specifically attend that school. For me personally, I actually applied to Amherst College through the early decision process because I 100% knew that I did want that school. Usually this cycle is a very good one, a very good choice to go through if you know for a fact that you want to go to this one school, and you would choose it among all the others. So I decided that I wanted to risk it. I was going to sign this contract and go with the early decision process. I submitted my application around November, I believe like the day before the last deadline. And I submitted everything and I got my decision back about the first week of December, and it was a wonderful decision. It was absolutely wonderful. Um, and it was a way for me to basically get out of the college application process early on in the cycle. So while my friends and peers were applying to college, I still I already had my decision to go to Amherst like early on. So I didn't have to go through writing like a bunch of essays or like get more recommendation letters or take more tests and stuff. I was committed to going to Amherst. Yeah. Okay, what else? Okay, the grades. So these are just different components of the application process. So the first one I want to discuss is grades, of course. I do want to say that there is this misconception that grades are the most important part of your application. I know a lot of parents, including my own, have stressed the fact that grades are that one factor that will get you into Harvard, Yale, Amherst, or any other top institution in the country. But instead, the American education system is actually built on a holistic review process. This holistic review literally means they look at your application as a general application with all these different factors, and they try to make sense of you, right? Make sense of this application by imagining a real life student that will be attending their school. So they can't just identify a person or identify you specifically based on numerical grades and say, oh yes, she's going to do a wonderful job at our school, we must accept her. Instead, they look at this variety of other factors that contribute to your identity, contribute to the story that you tell to the college admissions people. So grades, keep in mind, are just one component of the rest of your other factors that go into the college admissions process. But I'm not trying to undermine the importance of it, of course. I would say that right when you step into high school, you do want to strive for those A's. Like B's are great too, of course, they're fine. But for those top institutions, I would say start running freshman year, get those grades up, have those A's, and of course, maintain those A's for those 4 years until you end up applying and eventually getting into a good college. And of course, realistically, not everyone starts out with the A's. I certainly did not. So you want to instead show that you are committed to doing better in school. Yes, you can have your B's and A's and A minuses and all that stuff, but you want to make it your goal to show that there is an upward grade trend throughout the 4 years. What I mean by that is that when you step into high school, you usually don't know how the system works. You're probably used to middle school and the teachers kind of spoon feeding you all the assignments that you have to do, telling you, reminding you of all the assignments that are due tomorrow, the next week, and stuff like that. But in high school, it's usually you are an independent entity. Yes, teachers help you, but you're usually on your own and you're responsible for your own actions, pretty much. But the main idea here is to have an upward grade trend, meaning that in second year and third year and fourth year of high school, you want to have a demonstration that you are doing better each year. So if you're getting B's and A's your first semester, next semester you want to aim for all A minuses or all A's, and the next semester do even better, because this is a way to show to colleges that you are actually understanding how the high school system works and how you are able to do better and you are able to grasp the material. So this upward grade trend is very, very, very important. Okay. Extracurriculars. Another important part of your college application process is the extracurricular section. So extracurriculars basically means anything you do outside of school or inside of school that isn't fully about your grades, right? So you could be a sports star. You could be going out and playing soccer with your friends, taking soccer classes and going to practice. You could be coaching kids in soccer. Those are all your interests, right? For me personally, as I mentioned before, I am interested in the medical field, and in high school, after spending my freshman year exploring different fields and different interests, I eventually said, okay, medicine is what I want to do for sure, as of now, as of that time. And I tried to find those clubs and find those internships that were related to my interests specifically. For you, it could be something that is about community service, right? For a lot of people in the Turkmen community, it could be a lot about serving the Turkmen community right now, whether it's tutoring kids or whether it's going out and helping deliver food for the pandemic, right? Anything that is about your interests and that shows that you are a lot more than just the numbers show in terms of your grades.
Tavus,
Yes.
if you can give a little bit less explanation, we already consumed 25 minutes. So if we can wrap it up in 10 minutes, then we would like to leave time for questions.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Okay, I will zoom by these quickly. So commitment and consistency, of course, you want to show to colleges that you are able to spend a couple years on each activity instead of doing a variety of activities each year and kind of leaving each one and pursuing new ones. Instead, you want to make sure that you have these interests that you show and you stick with throughout the years. Standardized tests, there are two of them, SAT and ACT, the main ones. I took the SAT, and the main thing that I would emphasize is the importance of time, research, and practice. So you want to give yourself enough time to actually research what the test is about, the standardized test, right? What kind of questions they ask, what kind of materials do you need to know, and stuff like that. So that's the research aspect of it. And the time aspect of it is by giving yourself time, you have enough time to research, but also practice the material at the end. So whether it's doing the Kaplan books, the Princeton Review books, going on Khan Academy and grinding out all of the practice tests that College Board provides, all that stuff. You need to give yourself enough time and actually practice, because at the end of the day, it is a standardized test that tests the same thing over and over again. Last but not least, is recommendation letters. I want to emphasize the importance of the relationships with teachers. So throughout high school, you want to build relationships with the teachers. So whether it's going to her or him after class and saying, hi, I was interested in that idea that you were talking about, and I had a question about it. I want to discuss it with you. You want to demonstrate your interest to the teachers so that you actually build more of a friendship with the teachers. So when it comes time to apply to college, you will be able to ask them, hi, can you write me a recommendation letter? And they would, in most cases, be very much willing to. Okay, in the last couple of minutes, I will talk about my experience and where I'm at right now. So currently I'm a second-year student at Amherst College. It's a very small liberal arts college located in Amherst, Massachusetts. Beautiful, beautiful Massachusetts right here. And a lot of people, they actually don't know the difference between liberal arts college versus research university. The main difference is usually the size of it. Liberal arts college is composed of only undergraduate students. So usually the attention is on us, rather than in a research university, the attention is mostly, yes, there is attention to undergraduates, of course, but usually it's spanned and divided across other regions as well, including the graduate students. Furthermore, liberal arts college emphasizes basically a broad education. So you get to take classes in different regions. For example, I'm taking classes in anthropology, English departments, even though I'm in biochemistry and sociology major. So liberal arts college basically allows you to kind of expand to other regions and other areas of fields of study. So I am graduating in 2023, so a few more years left, and I'm on the pre-med track, while majoring in biochemistry and sociology. So on the pre-med track, it means that I'm taking a bunch of classes.
Your connection is not very good.
Uh-oh.
Yes, you told the last thing I heard was that you're graduating in 2023.
Mm-hmm. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm graduating in 2023 with a degree in biochemistry and sociology. And I am on the pre-med track right now, meaning that I take all my prereq classes for medical school. So hopefully my future plans, well, as of now, lie in applying to medical school in a few years and going into medicine. I'm not too sure of which field yet, particularly. But I'm at the stage where I'm exploring by shadowing doctors and volunteering at hospitals furthermore, despite the pandemic, of course. That should be it. So if you guys have any questions and answers, I'll be glad to answer.
Okay, we have one question from YouTube. Jahan Taganwa is asking, what are your midterm goals while being a student at the college?
Was that midterm goals?
Yes, what are your midterm goals? I don't know, in 5 years or something like that?
Okay.
She didn't define the midterm. Maybe
Got
she
it,
can
no
now,
problem.
yes, all right.
Okay, no problem. So I can talk about my short-term goals. I'm assuming that might be what she meant. Short-term goals is, inshallah, of course, graduate Amherst College with my degrees and either take a gap year and maybe pursue another research opportunity. Right now, I'm doing research with a faculty member at Amherst College, working with genetics and basically development of embryo, so embryonic development. I'm planning to either go into research for a little bit or apply to medical school right after Amherst and go into medicine. Yes, I don't know if that's sufficient.
If she has further question, she can ask. Now, why did you choose, I mean, you told that you were from a STEM and then you chose a biochemistry as your major, but also you chose a sociology, which is interesting.
Yeah. So I actually came into Amherst thinking that I would major in one STEM field and one humanities field because I love how different ideas and different fields kind of connect. And there's an interdisciplinary approach to everything. I didn't really know much about sociology until I took my introductory class last year. And I learned about all the systemic issues going on in the country and how issues of people and citizens and, for example, immigrants, they face certain issues and they face certain obstacles and are unable to meet certain goals or are able to meet certain goals because of like institutionalized systems, such as even the education system being an institution that plays a role in how citizens are treated and how citizens fare in the country. And there's a huge overlap between sociology and medicine because it allows me to explore how certain groups of people are treated in medicine, right? Whether it's based on your race, your socioeconomic status. And I would like my interest to actually currently lie in learning about how people heal and how people are treated based on the structural institutions within a country and within institutions.
Okay, we have another question. Do you think playing soccer would be a good extracurricular activity to prove yourself to colleges that are more science or engineering related? Or is it about your position in those extracurricular activities that matter the most?
That's a great question. I would say that it's a wonderful extracurricular activity if you are able to do sports, because in sports, you are able to demonstrate that you are a team worker. Soccer especially is all about working with team members, right? By being able to do that, colleges can see that, okay, great, he or she is able to interact with other people. If I would say and recommend that if you are playing soccer for a couple years now, try to go out, right? Try to maybe coach a little team of like 5-year-olds. You can even do it as a volunteering position if you'd like, just to give back to the community that gave to you. But it's also just a way to demonstrate that you are involved in your community, you love soccer, and you are able to lead a team. Those are all qualities that are important to all schools, despite what their focus may be, even if it's like a STEM focused school.
All right, so the questions are coming to you, individual questions about your plans. The purpose of this presentation is to prepare the high school students and successfully transition to colleges. But I will ask those questions as well. But first thing is first, so AP classes you mentioned, you chose, I mean, who can take AP classes and why one should take AP classes in high school? And you told us also that you couldn't transfer some of those AP classes into your college.
Mm-hmm. So there are various reasons why you should take AP classes. One important reason is that you are actually learning more about that certain subject. So because I took AP biology, I was exposed to more detailed ideas about that field, right? So I knew that certain cells or certain genetics work this way because of that class, because I had more exposure to certain ideas. So it's a way for you to expose yourself to that field just to see if you further like it or not. If you don't, that's fine. You don't lose anything. The only thing you do is you gain education, right? Which is fantastic. In terms of credits, I know a lot of people who want to take AP classes for the credits because it saves them money in college. It's a way for you to skip introductory classes. Amherst College does not take credits specifically in the STEM field because I'm a pre-med and I want to go into medicine and take the MCAT and all that stuff. They want to ensure that I have my fundamental scientific ideas down instead of advancing into higher level science classes, for example. So I think I 100% do not regret taking all those AP classes because coming into Amherst, I had those ideas set into my head already. So I knew what the professor was talking about. I was already like running, while some people, it may have been their first time taking that introductory biology course or something. So for me, it was personally helpful, and I would never advise anyone not to take AP classes. Yes, it's a lot of work and it's a lot of time you need to commit to it. But at the end of the day, you gain a lot more than you lose.
You studied in New York State and now you're studying at Massachusetts. So when you transfer, I mean, cross the border lines, you may lose those AP credits. And so why didn't you choose any college or liberal arts college in state of New York rather than going to Massachusetts?
So actually AP credits, it's not because of the difference in state that AP credits don't transfer. It's mostly because, again, once again, it's because of the personal choice of the institution that I attend, because Amherst says that we highly advise pre-med students, for example, or STEM students to retake those intro classes just to make sure that they have their fundamentals down rather than skipping it and going into higher level classes. So me being from New York and attending a school in California across the country would not affect whether or not AP credits are transferred. That actually has nothing to do with it. Why I attended Amherst College out of all the other liberal arts colleges, first off, it's a beautiful campus. I would advise anyone who can to visit it. Come visit me if you'd like. I will tour you around the place. It's a beautiful, beautiful campus with a beautiful weather, with all the 4 seasons and everything. It's also one of the best college towns, so you get the full experience of undergraduates being in one place, surrounded and living next to actual professors in the same town and everything. So I love the vibes that I got from the place, including all the kindness that New York might not provide sometimes.
So did you have a chance to visit the campus before you apply?
I actually did not. I did not visit the campus. I visited only a few of them because I was very busy during junior year and senior year with other commitments. But I applied anyway because of like the virtual tours that you can get online and everything. I would recommend anyone who can't visit the campuses to go to those virtual tours. It's a virtual map, it's a 3D map, visit it. I visited right after I did get accepted and I loved it, but I did a lot of research on Google about it.
How many colleges did you apply in total?
One, it was Amherst College.
Wow, that is, you're an outlier then. We're trying to draw a path for high school students, but we advise students to apply more than one. So
I can talk
I
more about it if you'd like.
Well, if you can share your any contact information, they may contact you after watching this video. So I don't think we will reach out to many live audience, but the YouTube video might reach to those who need them later. So you joined the Honor Society. What is the basis to join such kind of society, and what is the importance for college application or acceptance?
So an honor society, it actually starts out in middle school. Some of the New Yorkers might have heard of like Arista and Archon programs. Those are both honor society programs. At that time, we literally got a letter that said, hello, you have a grade point average above a 3.9 or above like a 90 percentage. Or something like that. You are officially accepted to Arista or Archon Honor Society. And it's an organization that recognizes these people who have high grades, who have maintained high grades. In high school, another layer is added to it. So on top of the grades that you're supposed to like achieve to be in it, you also need a certain number of volunteering hours. So in high school, you usually submit a letter signed by, title of the extracurricular activity you did and signed by the supervisor and the number of hours you committed to each activity, and you submit it to your guidance counselor or whoever is in charge. And you say, hi, here's my hours. And then she would submit it to someone else in the administration that says, okay, she has met this expectation of a certain number of volunteering hours, and she meets the expectations of joining Arista Archon or other National Honor Society. In Goldstein, we actually got rid of the Arista Archon. Now it's just known as the National Honor Society. It's just a way to be a part of this community who have academically achieved the same as you, and you might meet people in the school that you haven't run into yet and say, hey, we share the same interests. Blah, blah, blah. It's a way to make connections. In terms of benefits for college applications, yes, it's a great thing to put on your resume because it shows that you are part of this organization. If you are able to get a leadership position eventually, such as a president, for example, I got that position, I believe in end of junior year, I think. I was able to put that because I committed certain time and hours into it during the past few years. That was a cool thing to show on my resume.
Did you do any other extracurricular activities, or did you volunteer in the community around you? What else did you put on your resume?
So as I mentioned before, one of the big things was volunteering at a local hospital. I volunteered in the intensive care units for basically 4 years. I loved what I did. It was just working around patients, helping nurses get materials, treat patients just a little bit here and there, following HIPAA, of course. And it was a way for me to shadow doctors. There would be surgeons in the intensive care unit that would be like, hi, I'm doing this cool procedure right now if you want to come see. And I would just stand there and pretty much be awed. That was one big thing. Another thing I did was the research project I did with my AP biology teacher. I did it with a certain organization. I forgot what it was called. I can get back to you guys on that later if you'd like. Yeah. What else did I do? Student government in school. There's another program called New York Academy of Science, which I would recommend to other people. That one was also working with people in other countries of the world, and we come together to kind of solve this challenge by creating a research project of our own and presenting it in front of judges and getting places, and basically a competition for research. It was wonderful.
Dr. Chari, I don't know if he's watching still. So he asked the question whether you have chosen your field on medicine. I know it is too early, but I guess he is proud of you to see presenting, and you're in a pre-med. So maybe he's looking for a protege.
Yeah. Thank you.
I don't know, you know him or not, so.
I've heard of him through my parents and stuff. It's a small community.
It is.
So in terms of the field, so I'm very much looking into surgery right now. I've had my eyes set on it for actually a while now. But going into college and kind of seeing other parts of life and other things life has to offer, I'm not too sure yet. I'm still definitely interested. I don't know about the commitment in years yet, but surgery is definitely up there.
I see. Any kind of surgery, it doesn't matter.
Anything but pediatrics and neurosurgery. That's what I say.
I see. All right. Another question from Jahan is, what would be your advice to Turkmen youth based in Turkmenistan and aiming to obtain education in the USA?
Mm-hmm. That's a very
If you have
question.
any, advice.
Yeah. First thing I would say is learn English. That's very important. That's the fundamental thing you want to do. I went to Turkmenistan a couple years ago and I was raised there, so I kind of know how the community works and everything. And I know that there are certain programs in the country that are willing to help the youth learn English. I think if possible, financially, of course, and just if it's accessible, I would say go learn English by attending those programs. And then I would say if you are able to obtain internet access, that is very important. By doing so, you are able to expose yourself to a whole world of information within Google, right? Google is like your best friend. And through that, once you have the English language, you can Google around saying colleges, universities in the United States and exposing yourself to the education system in America. By doing so, you can slowly learn about what it requires, what the college application requires, such as like the SAT and what kind of material it tests and what kind of books you should get if you are able to. And yeah, I know I acknowledge the fact that it's very different from a domestic college applicant. So I'm not too sure on how to answer it fully, but I would say learn English, try to get internet access, and begin questioning, I think, on Google and finding answers.
Well, if they can Google, they should be able to find our previous presentation from Sohbet in Turkmen. So we did an undergrad application process with him and how to find a scholarship need-based or a success-based. Mm-hmm. So another question is, have you considered medical or biochemistry exchange programs such as Erasmus to have wider exposure to R&D across the continents?
Oh, interesting. I have not.
Well, Jahan has I think Jahan knows. So if you know her, you can contact her. By the way, how, if so the viewers have any question, how they should contact you?
I can give out them my email. Email
can
would be great.
Can you open a new slide and write your email, please?
Yep, sounds good.
So it can be visible.
This is my email.
Okay.
It is open all the time. Feel free to reach out to me, and
okay.
I hope
Great.
that it's visible.
So if they couldn't attend to your online presentation, they may contact you via email. And other than that, Artur asked about the master's program. That will be next week's presentation. We will post in social media. I think it will be around noon with New York time. So please just follow those social media accounts of TASA, and there will be a flyer about it. Now, did you have any after-school programs? Did you attend any, such as the test preparatory classes, this and that? So
I did not. No. I actually did not. I don't know if I regret not doing it. I've tried. I'm mostly of an independent learner. I kind of like to get my own computer, have Google open, just Google around, learn the process myself. I've definitely tried learning it from other people. It hasn't worked out as successfully as I'd wanted to, but I think it's just my own personal way, personal style of learning. But if working in a classroom with other people is an option for other people and they actually genuinely like it and like learn better that way, I would say go for it. Why not? It can't hurt. But no, I'm more of a get my own computer, get my own books, try to look through it, learn the process myself, and eventually get it.
I see. You didn't have any. You came when you were 7.
Mm-hmm.
So you solved your English problem very early. You didn't have any problem in high school. So do you have any advice how to get over their English problems or language problems? Some of them come late, like early high school or late middle school. So they may have challenging time adapting and also the language barrier.
Mm-hmm. My biggest advice would be read a lot of books, go to the library. Wonderful thing about America is there's a library full of free books for you to literally sign up for a card, go to the library, scan it, get some library books out. You can start out with elementary school books, even if you are in high school. Like, you shouldn't be scared of doing that at all. I think starting out somewhere, getting
Scared
into
or
books.
Shamed? Scared
or shamed, both ways. I think it's so useful to read, because like I have a little brother at home right now learning how to read, and it's a wonderful process to watch. I think by reading small books, then slowly going up to larger books, you are able to put letters into words into sentences, sentences into paragraphs, eventually big books, right? And through the readings, not only are you learning English language, you're also learning how to think once you eventually begin and understanding. You can even keep like a dictionary on the side. You can have an old school dictionary copy or Google again. Google's great. What you have to do is put in the word, put in definition, and then you get it whole description. You could even use translators. I know there's like a variety of Turkmen translations as well, like websites available. I think if you put the work in it, it's doable.
I see. Great. So my last question would be if there are any questions they can write on YouTube or Zoom. How important was your teachers and your parents? I guess your parents pushed you as well as your teachers. So if you can tell us about their contribution, then we can conclude if there are no any questions.
Sounds good. So my parents have played a gigantic role in my academic journey. Unlike expectations or unlike stereotypical expectations of maybe those tiger parents that pressure kids into doing certain things to go for those fields that guarantee you a lot of money, my parents were the type to literally drive me to a library, have like a big bag, like a recycling bag of books. Since I was little, we would come back, I would read the books in a week, go back to the library, exchange those books, and they would make sure I read them, make sure I read them, and make sure that I kept reading a little more and more day by day. And they were also very much involved in my academic life. So they would, especially my dad, he would go to school, he would talk to my teachers, get to know them, get to know how I'm doing in the class, ask if I'm struggling with any certain subjects in the class, ask what he can do to help. And my teachers would communicate with him. I think communication is such an important skill to have. And by being involved, they also kind of demonstrated that they had confidence in me. confidence that I could do stuff, that I could achieve good things. And they kept pushing me, but in a supportive way, not in a way that made me not want to do stuff. And yeah, they just exposed me to a different fields, different ideas, and eventually allowed me to kind of choose my path. In terms of teachers are fantastic support systems. I would say that by talking to teachers during class, whether it's asking questions about certain ideas that you're going through in class, or whether it's going after class and saying, I found that topic very interesting, I wish you could elaborate on a little more, or if you have more questions, you communicating to them allows you to develop this friendship. And eventually they get to know you as more of a friend rather than just this inferior person they're teaching. And by seeing that you're curious and that you're genuinely engaged in their work, I think they start to develop these set of expectations for you and basically set of expectations that allow you to kind of have confidence in yourself as well, because by expectations, you see that people believe in you and you believe in you. So what's stopping you,
All right.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much for your time. This came in Thanksgiving weekend. I hope you enjoyed I don't know whether you're in New York or Massachusetts at the moment. So
New
hope you
York.
enjoy in New York. Yeah. I see. Everyone is running away from New York, but you came back. So, or were you studying online this semester?
I was on campus studying online, working. Yes. So
I see.
both.
I see. Great. So everything is crystal clear, I guess. So we don't have any questions. Thank you very much for your time. And everyone is proud of you. They wrote on YouTube chat. Maybe you can read them later. And someone's saying, special shout out to Guanch Atajanova. I guess he's your father, and his family for raising educated, confident, and powerful girls or girl. I think someone knows the family.
The family.
And someone else wrote another one. It's Begench Idodif, if you know him. And that's it. So I guess Jahan Tagan wrote that she is proud of you as well. And Dr. Chari told, proud of you, future Turkmen doctor. So, success in your education. And once you finish, please keep us informed. So you can tell your story by using TASA platform and reach out to many, hopefully. And that's it for tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Thank you very much and have a good evening.